Daniel, a grieving widower burdened by the weight of working two grueling jobs to keep afloat, experienced a night that would forever alter his life. It was a stormy evening, with rain pouring down in torrents, when he encountered a woman stranded on the side of the road, drenched and desperate. Passion and a sense of duty moved him to offer her a ride, an act of kindness that seemed ordinary at the time. However, the following morning, an intense roar of a helicopter shattered the stillness, jolting Daniel from his sleep. The aircraft hovered ominously above his home, its powerful blades cutting through the air with an urgency that filled him with apprehension. What transpired next left him utterly astounded and set in motion a series of events he could never have anticipated. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Hello everyone, and welcome to Tales Unveiled. Today, I'm thrilled to present a story that will captivate your hearts and minds, a tale of unexpected twists and profound human connection. Let's dive in. Daniel, a man in his late 40s, resided in a quaint town that held the echoes of his past. He and his beloved wife, Sophie, had once thrived in the vibrant city of Las Vegas, their lives filled with love, laughter, and the bright lights of the city. But fate dealt a cruel hand when Sophie passed away suddenly, plunging Daniel into a sea of sorrow and despair. Overwhelmed by grief and the emptiness that followed, he made the heart-wrenching decision to return to his hometown, seeking solace among his family and lifelong friends, hoping that familiar faces and places might help mend his broken heart. Back in his familiar surroundings, Daniel found a semblance of comfort, but life was far from easy. He secured a job as a factory worker, a stark contrast to the bustling city life he once knew. It wasn't the career he had dreamed of, but necessity dictated his choices. The job was a lifeline, a means to cover his mounting bills, keep food on the table, and maintain a roof over his head. The work was monotonous and physically exhausting, leaving him with little energy at the end of each day. Despite the weariness that settled deep in his bones, Daniel pressed on, driven by the memory of Sophie and the life they once shared, a life that seemed like a distant dream now. One fateful night, after a particularly grueling shift, Daniel was driving home through the relentless rain. His thoughts were consumed with memories of Sophie, and the ache in his heart felt especially heavy. As he navigated the slick, winding roads, his headlights caught the figure of a woman standing by her car, stranded and soaked to the skin. The sight stirred something within him, perhaps a reflection of his own loneliness and need for human connection. Without hesitation, he pulled over and offered her a ride. She accepted gratefully, and they drove in silence, the rhythmic patter of rain on the car roof a soothing backdrop to their unspoken stories. The next morning, the deafening sound of a helicopter shattered the quiet of dawn, waking Daniel with a start. The helicopter was hovering directly over his house, its presence both alarming and mystifying. He rushed outside, heart pounding, to find a scene that seemed surreal. The events that unfolded were beyond anything he could have imagined, involving the woman he had helped and a revelation that would change his life in ways he never thought possible. In the days that followed, Daniel would come to understand the profound impact of his simple act of kindness. The encounter on that rainy night set off a chain reaction of events that brought unexpected opportunities, new friendships, and a renewed sense of purpose. It was as if Sophie, from beyond the grave, had orchestrated this turn of fate, guiding him towards a new chapter filled with hope and promise. Daniel's journey through grief and struggle, marked by moments of quiet heroism, became a testament to the power of human compassion and the mysterious ways in which our lives are intertwined. As we explore this extraordinary tale, I invite you to reflect on the small acts of kindness that can ripple through our lives, creating waves of change we might never foresee. Welcome to Tales Unveiled, where every story holds a hidden truth and every heart has a tale to tell. Since childhood, Daniel had nurtured a dream that burned brightly in his heart to open a clothing business. He often envisioned himself owning one of the biggest and most stylish clothing stores in his hometown, a place where people would come to find the latest fashions and timeless classics. However, the harsh reality of financial constraints kept that dream just out of reach. With a heavy heart, Daniel set aside his aspirations, choosing instead to focus on more immediate needs. To make ends meet, Daniel worked tirelessly at a factory, a job that demanded much of his strength and time. But even that wasn't enough to cover all his expenses. To supplement his income, Daniel took on a second job at KFC, where he mostly worked the night shift. The late hours and demanding workload left him exhausted, but he knew it was necessary to support himself. One particularly stormy night, as Daniel was driving home from his shift at KFC, he noticed a striking sight on the side of the road. A blonde woman in her early 30s stood there, drenched from the relentless rain, desperately trying to hitchhike a ride. It was almost 10 p.m., and Daniel was puzzled by her presence on such a desolate road at that late hour. The road was notorious for its darkness and the steep embankments that flanked it, making it a treacherous path, especially at night. Few drivers ventured that way after dark, but it was the quickest route to Daniel's house, so he took it every night. Initially, Daniel considered driving past the woman, reasoning that it might be safer for both of them if he did. However, a pang of empathy stopped him. He realized that given the late hour and the remote location, she might not find anyone else willing to help. And compassion won over caution, and he decided to pull over in front of her. The woman, visibly relieved, hurried to his car. As she climbed in, she thanked Daniel profusely, explaining that her car had broken down and she had been stranded for hours with no help in sight. Her voice trembled with a mix of exhaustion and gratitude, and Daniel could see the worry etched on her face. Despite his own fatigue, he felt a sense of purpose and responsibility. This small act of kindness, he thought, was the least he could do. As they drove through the rain-soaked night, Daniel couldn't help but reflect on his own journey. The dream of owning a clothing store might have faded, but the values that dream instilled in him, hard work, perseverance, and kindness, remained steadfast. Little did he know, this chance encounter would become a pivotal moment in his life, leading to unforeseen opportunities and profound connections. Welcome to Tales Unveiled, where we explore the hidden stories behind everyday lives. Today, I'm excited to share Daniel's remarkable story, a tale of dreams deferred but never forgotten, and the incredible power of human compassion. Let's uncover the next chapter of Daniel's journey together. "I'm sure you need a ride," Daniel said gently to the woman, who was visibly shivering in the downpour. As she nodded, he leaned over and opened the passenger door of his truck for her, inviting her inside without a word. She climbed in gratefully, dripping wet, and Daniel quickly handed her a small, fluffy towel he always kept in his glove compartment for emergencies. "Thank you for your kindness," the woman said, her voice trembling as she took the towel. "I'm Laura," she introduced herself with a weary smile. "I'm Daniel," he replied warmly, returning her smile. "If you don't mind me asking, what were you doing out there alone at this time of night?" "Oh, my car broke down, and I was stranded with no way to fix it," Laura explained, her voice tinged with frustration and relief. "Your car?" "I didn't notice a car when I saw you," Daniel said, his confusion evident in his tone. "I had to walk quite a distance away from it to find help," she responded. "I figured I'd have it towed and fixed tomorrow." "That makes sense," Daniel nodded, understanding the predicament. "So, where are you headed?" Laura hesitated for a moment before answering. "I was on my way to visit a friend who lives nearby. I didn't expect to get caught in this storm and end up in this mess." "Well, I'm glad I came by when I did," Daniel said reassuringly. "It's not safe out there, especially on this road. I'll take you wherever you need to go." As they drove through the relentless rain, Daniel glanced over at Laura, who was now drying her hair with the towel. She looked grateful but weary, a mix of emotions playing across her face. The storm outside seemed to mirror the turmoil of her night, but inside the truck, a sense of calm began to settle. "How long have you been out here?" Daniel asked, breaking the silence. "Feels like hours," Laura sighed. "I was starting to lose hope that anyone would come along." "Well, you were lucky," Daniel said with a small chuckle. "I don't usually take this route, but tonight I had a feeling it would be faster. Maybe it was meant to be." Laura looked at him, her eyes softening. "Maybe it was. Thank you again, Daniel. You don't know how much this means to me." "It's no trouble at all," Daniel replied, feeling a warmth spread through him. "Sometimes we all need a little help. I'm just glad I could be there for you." The rest of the drive was filled with light conversation and shared stories. By the time they reached Laura's destination, the rain had lessened and a faint glimmer of dawn was starting to appear on the horizon. As she got out of the truck, Laura turned to Daniel one last time. "Thank you, Daniel, for everything." "Take care, Laura," he replied with a smile. "I hope your car gets fixed without any issues." As he drove away, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was more than just a random act of kindness. It felt like a turning point, a moment where his own life might start to change in unexpected ways. He had no idea what the future held, but for the first time in a long while, he felt a glimmer of hope. "I'll be heading over to my friend's place. She lives on Purple Pine Street," Laura replied. "I'm planning to stay overnight so I can return easily to fix my car tomorrow." "All right, I'll give you a ride. It's not too far from my place on Portland Street," Daniel offered. "Would you mind if I play some music? I can't offer you coffee, but I can at least share some good tunes." Daniel switched on the car radio, tuning into a popular music station. Coincidentally, a song that was one of his late wife's favorites started playing, flooding his heart with bittersweet memories. "This song was one of my wife's favorites. I played it for her on the day she passed away," Daniel shared, his voice tinged with sorrow. "Hearing it now makes me realize just how much I miss her." "Tell me about her," Laura urged gently. Daniel's eyes softened as he began to recount the story of Sophie, their serendipitous meeting in college, the deep and abiding love they shared, and the profound impact she had on his life. He spoke of the cruel illness that took her away too soon, leaving an aching void in his heart. Listening to Daniel's heartfelt story, Laura felt a deep empathy for his pain. She reached out to console him, assuring him that Sophie was in heaven, watching over him. Her comforting words brought a soothing balm to Daniel's grief-stricken soul, and for the first time that day, he felt a sense of peace envelop him. The journey continued with a poignant silence, the music now a bridge between past memories and the promise of healing. Daniel found solace in Laura's compassion, her words echoing in his heart and bringing him a glimmer of hope amidst his sorrow. "Enough about me. Tell me about yourself," Daniel asked Laura, his curiosity piqued by the enigmatic woman in his passenger seat. Laura smiled softly, shaking her head. "No, Daniel, I enjoy listening to you. Keep talking about yourself. Maybe next time I'll share my story." Daniel, slightly puzzled but undeterred, shrugged and continued. He recounted his life in the vibrant city of Las Vegas, his work there, and the heart-wrenching decision to move back to his hometown after Sophie's untimely death. He suspected that Laura's reticence was due to a reluctance to share personal details with a stranger, and he respected that. Despite her silence about herself, Daniel found immense joy in the conversation. His days were often lonely, with few friends to share his thoughts, and speaking with Laura brought him a rare and welcome happiness. As the minutes passed, Daniel felt a connection growing between them, even though Laura revealed little about herself. About 15 minutes into their conversation, Daniel arrived at Purple Pine Street. Laura insisted on being dropped off without disclosing her friend's exact address, citing security concerns. She assured him she would walk the rest of the way once he drove off. The rain had dwindled to a gentle drizzle, and the streetlights cast a soft glow, making it safer for her to walk alone. "Are you sure about that?" Daniel asked one last time, concern evident in his voice. Laura nodded confidently. "Yes, Daniel, I'll be fine. Thank you for the ride and the wonderful conversation." With a wave and a smile, she stepped out of the truck, disappearing into the night. Daniel watched her go, feeling a mixture of contentment and curiosity. Though their time together was brief, it had left an indelible mark on him, filling a small part of the void that had long been present in his heart. As soon as Laura thanked Daniel and stepped out of his truck, he drove off, feeling a mix of curiosity and contentment. True to his word, Daniel arrived home just before 10 p.m. Exhausted from a long day at work, he had a quick dinner, took a shower, and went straight to bed, eager to get some rest before his afternoon shift at the factory the next day. The following morning, around 10 a.m., Daniel was still deep in slumber when the loud, startling sound of a helicopter hovering overhead abruptly woke him. Alarmed and disoriented, he quickly got out of bed, still in his pajamas, and hurried to see what was going on. Before he could even reach the front door, there was a firm knock. Opening the door, he was greeted by the sight of a man in a black suit standing on his porch, with 4 other men scattered across his front yard. "Am I in trouble?" Daniel blurted out, his mind racing with possibilities. "No, not at all. I'm here on behalf of Laura Smith," the man responded calmly. "Laura Smith?" Daniel repeated, confusion etched on his face. "I don't think I know any Laura Smith." The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a small photograph of a blonde woman, handing it to Daniel. Recognition dawned on him instantly. "Oh, I know this Laura. I just didn't know her last name was Smith," Daniel said, relief washing over him. "Is everything okay?" he added, concern creeping into his voice. "Yes, everything is fine," the man assured him. "Laura just wanted me to thank you personally for your kindness last night and to give you this." The man handed Daniel a small envelope. Inside was a heartfelt note from Laura, expressing her gratitude for his kindness and the comfort of their conversation. There was also a phone number with a message saying, "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to call." Daniel felt a warm rush of emotion as he read the note. The encounter with Laura had been brief but impactful, and her gesture of gratitude left him feeling appreciated and connected in a way he hadn't felt in a long time. He looked up at the man, nodded, and said, "Thank you for delivering this message. It means a lot." With a final nod, the man in the suit and his companions left, leaving Daniel standing at his front door, holding the note and feeling a newfound sense of peace and connection. "Yes, everything is fine. Miss Laura is inside, waiting for you, and she would love to see you if you don't mind," the man said. "That's fine. I just need to change out of these pajamas," Daniel replied, before quickly heading back into his house to put on something more appropriate. Once he was dressed in casual clothes, the man escorted him to the helicopter where Laura was waiting. As soon as Daniel climbed into the helicopter, he was handed a pair of headphones with a microphone. He put them on and saw Laura sitting comfortably with her legs crossed and a welcoming smile on her face. "Hello, Daniel. I knew we would meet again," Laura said, her eyes twinkling with a mix of excitement and warmth. "Hello, Laura. This is quite a surprise. I don't even know where to start. I have so many questions," Daniel responded, feeling a mix of curiosity and bewilderment. "What do you say we go on a short ride? I promise to answer all of your questions," Laura suggested. "That would be great," Daniel agreed. As soon as he said that, the helicopter began to lift off the ground. "So my first question is, who are you?" And how do you have access to all these things? Are you with the FBI? Daniel asked, unable to contain his curiosity. Laura chuckled softly. No, not at all. My name is Laura Smith, the only child and heir to Jonathan Smith, she revealed. The Jonathan Smith we all know? Daniel asked, needing confirmation. Yes, that Jonathan Smith, Laura confirmed with a smile. Daniel was taken aback. Jonathan Smith was a name everyone knew, a powerful figure in the business world, with influence that spanned continents. I had no idea, Daniel said, still processing the information. Why didn't you tell me last night? Laura's smile faded slightly, replaced by a more reflective expression. I wanted to see how you would react to me just as a person, without any preconceived notions or judgments. It's rare for me to have genuine conversations where people don't know about my background. Daniel nodded, beginning to understand. Well, I'm glad we met. You're quite an extraordinary person, Laura. The helicopter ride provided a serene backdrop as they continued their conversation. Laura shared stories of her life, the challenges and privileges that came with her family name, and her desire to connect with people on a genuine level. Daniel, in turn, opened up about his own life, his struggles, and his dreams. As they flew over the city, Daniel felt a sense of camaraderie and understanding growing between them. The surreal experience of being in a helicopter with someone as remarkable as Laura made him realize how unpredictable and amazing life could be. For the first time in a long while, he felt a spark of hope and excitement about the future. I've grown weary of people being nice to me solely because of my name and status. I yearn for genuine connections, for people who value me for who I am, not for what I possess. Yesterday, I wanted to test if there were still people out there who would treat me well without knowing my true identity. And you, Daniel, you proved that to me, Laura confessed. Daniel, taken aback, stuttered, I don't even know what to say. This is quite a surprise. I know what to say, Daniel. It's thank you. And because you were so kind to me last night, I have something for you, Laura said warmly. As soon as she spoke, one of her men opened a briefcase, and Laura took out a large brown envelope and handed it to Daniel. When Daniel opened the envelope and saw its contents, he gasped in astonishment. No, I can't take this. It's too much. I was only helping a stranger, he protested. And that stranger is here to show gratitude for your kindness, Laura replied with a sincere smile. Thank you so much, Laura. You have no idea what this means to me. Thank you, Daniel said, finally accepting after Laura's gentle insistence. A few minutes later, the helicopter landed in front of Daniel's house. Laura promised to check on him occasionally, then waved goodbye as the helicopter took off. Later that year, with the money he received from Laura, Daniel started his clothing business. Though it wasn't as grand as he had initially envisioned, it was a significant milestone compared to where he used to be. True to her word, Laura checked on Daniel occasionally, and over time the two forged a powerful bond and friendship that lasted many years. Until the end of his days, Daniel never forgot his friend Laura, who had helped him achieve his dream. In the end, Daniel's small act of kindness toward a stranger on a rainy night led to a life-changing friendship and the fulfillment of his lifelong dream. It's a poignant reminder that genuine compassion can open doors we never imagined, proving that sometimes the greatest rewards come from the simplest acts of human connection. And that's the end of our heartfelt story. What have you learned from this touching tale of kindness and unexpected friendship? We'd love to hear from you. Comment below on one thing you've learned and plan to bring into practice in your own life. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.